Okay, what are we gonna do today? Let's see what we got here. Ooh, look at this Kraken. 21-year Cellar Reserve. Let's give this one a shot. Well, hello folks. Welcome out again for another review. Today we're going to continue on our progression through the Gurkha lineup, and we're going to review the Gurkha Cellar Reserve 21-year Connecticut. This is Simply Being Shipley, Cigar and Pipe, your unconventional guide to cigar and pipe culture, a real channel for real enthusiasts. Now, you should be getting used to how we do these reviews. What we're going to start out with, of course, some material from the cigar company's website, and then we're going to actually smoke the cigar and give you my opinions, which may or may not contrast quite a bit with what the manufacturer says. In this case, the manufacturer is Gurkha Cigar Group. This is the 21-year-old Cellar Reserve, which is the newest addition to the Cellar Reserve line. It does have exclusive 21-year-old tobacco. Now, here's the thing. I can't find anywhere in writing where somebody says which part of the cigar is 21 years old. Tradition and typically we find that it's the filler where most of the flavor comes from. Very rarely, or if ever, is it just a wrapper or a binder. But most of the time, the manufacturer also states which is the aged tobacco, and this is the only cigar that I've seen that does not state that. I'm going to assume, and based upon the smoking experience I had, that it is the filler that is 21 years old. This is made in the Dominican Republic, and it boasts a flawless aged silky Connecticut shade wrapper with Dominican and Nicaraguan binder and fillers, according to their website. As usual with the Cellar Reserve line, there are some very colorful names for the sizes. One is the Cellar, which is your 5 by 58, the Hedonism, which is 6 by 58, and the Kraken, my favorite size, is the 6 by 60. Just to delve into that a little bit deeper, as a general rule of thumb, and definitely true in this time, the thicker the cigar ring is, the slower the cigar typically burns and the cooler that it burns. Now, the blend. The wrapper is a Connecticut shade. The binder is both Dominican and Nicaraguan. The filler is Dominican and Nicaraguan. And the country of origin, of course, is the Dominican Republic. What I found dealing with the appearance, the package of the cigar, if you will, is that it had an oily wrapper. It had a brushed natural leather-like coloration, like a brushed natural leather boot. It had lots of pronounced veins and visible seams, as is common with this line. The pigtail was perfectly formed, and a word of caution here, be careful not to damage it before the cut, because you could risk some serious unraveling were you to do so. Now, let's get into the review of the cigar, the video of me smoking it. Okay, folks, let's take a look at what we got here. This is the 21-year aged Cellar Reserve from Gurkha. It is in the Kraken size, which I just love. And it's got a perfectly formed pigtail on the end. Very small opening at the beginning. So we're going to have to clip that puppy up and get it lighted, and we'll go from there. Now, one of the limitations from having such a small opening at the beginning is it makes it difficult to do a pre-light draw. I did love the smell of the cigar. It was very buttery, kind of like a butter oil type of smell. It was very nice. Okay, in lighting this up, the very first thing that I taste is butter and an aftertaste of honey. It's a very smooth cigar, not nearly as rough as the veiny and textured appearance would lead you to believe. Now, in researching this cigar, I looked at what a lot of other reviewers, both in websites and in videos, had to say about this cigar. So I would know if there's anything that I needed to pay particular attention to. And I got some crazy, crazy tastes that people said they were getting from this. From roasted corn, burnt coffee. I mean, these things, where I don't want to critique other critiquers, but sometimes I just feel like they make things up. It's crazy. I could not understand. Not only did I not get that, but hey, all of our tastes are different. But just the amount of creativity that they had to put into coming up with those descriptions, I don't know. That's just my opinion, I guess. So as we smoke this cigar, and in the background you'll see I am in my garage right next to my Harley Davidson Road King. I came in here because the bright sun in 86, 87 degree weather shining directly on the back patio was a little bit rough. So I came to enjoy some time with the family in the garage and sit next to my Road King, which is named Jade Shadow. If you are a motorcyclist or have any interest in that world, I have an entire YouTube channel devoted to motorcycling, upgrading. It has a few of my bikes on there. It is called Simply Being Shipley, as opposed to this channel being Simply Being Shipley Cigar and Pipe. So go over there and check that out if you have an inclination to do so. I think you'll have some fun with the content. Now, as I'm taking a look at it, you'll see that the burn is starting to get a little bit uneven, but not super, super bad yet. I do not want it to get to where you have overlapping flavor profiles. So I am going to touch up this cigar here in just a few moments. At this point in the cigar, I'm starting to pick up a touch of fruitiness to it. Not a overwhelming presence, but just enough to add that fruity sweetness. When I'm retrohaling on this cigar, at this point, I am picking up a bit of a champagne taste that fades after the other flavors do. A little bit of that bubbly, nasal, champagne-y alcohol taste, which is quite pleasant. Okay, as you can see here, the ash is getting substantial on here. Just like with other Gurkhas that I have smoked, the construction and the filler tobaccos are extremely strong and well done, and it's able to maintain a very strong ash on the cigar. Okay, we've reached that point in the cigar where it is now time to remove the wrapper because we're getting into that half down to a quarter inch of tobacco before the wrapper begins. This wrapper comes off smoothly, and one of my big pet peeves with cigar wrappers are when that little fruit pectin they use to seal it on also gets onto the wrapper, and when you're trying to take off the label, it tears the wrapper and drives me bonkers when that happens. I've never had that experience with the Gurkha. These labels are put on perfectly 100% of the time in my personal experience. And I can definitely appreciate the extra attention to detail to get this right. Because I have had $25 and $35 cigars that just simply have let me down by getting the glue onto the actual wrapper of the cigar itself. So kudos to Gurkha for this. I am at this point getting a introduction of a very smooth, very light caramelly taste, overlaying the fruit and champagne. There's still a little bit of the butter in the background. I don't have the honey anymore. And we are pretty much at the halfway point in the cigar at this time. Let's go forward a little bit. You can see here at about 2/3 of the way into the cigar, we have lost our ash at this point. Now, at this point, boy, I say at this point a lot, but at this stage of smoking the cigar, we're into that final third, and I'm starting to get primarily a milk chocolate and caramel undertone on it. Those are the two main flavors I'm getting. If I had to dig deep and see if I could pull out a third, especially as I get a little bit further into it, I would say maybe like a sweet cashew. Very, very faint on that nuttiness. It's mostly milk chocolate with an undertone of caramel. Okay, I hope that you did enjoy some of that commentary there as I smoke the cigar. Before the light, I was not able to really pursue a pre-light draw because of the closedness of the cigar. The flavors. Now, as you saw in the video, the main flavors that I got were very different from what other reviewers were saying. I have seen some really weird stuff, like people saying that they had burnt coffee and roasted corn. This is just crazy. What I got was primarily butter, honey, some light fruit flavor, and toward the end, a big finish of a milk chocolate and caramel sweetness. The draw and the burn. The burn is consistent, as you saw in the video. I did have to do one touch up there. I was very happy with the way that the cigar performed. There was just a touch of resistance, as is common in the Cellar reserves of any of the ages, to help compact the smoke, but there were no blockages or hints of blockages at any time. Rating and final thoughts. As is common for the Cellar Reserve products from Gurkha, this cigar appears a beast from the outside, but is a beauty on the inside. This is one of the better tasting cigars that I've had. Do I think it's their best Cellar Reserve? No. I am still a huge fan of that 15-year Maduro Limitada. That is my favorite, even after smoking this one. But this is a really good cigar nonetheless. It's one of the better tasting cigars that I've ever had. It's surprisingly smooth and sweet. I definitely recommend trying this one. Here's my ratings on a scale of 1 to 10, as you know, 10 being the highest. The build was an 8. The draw was a 9. The flavor an 8. The smoothness of the finish, especially that way that the caramel came in at the end, a 9. And consistency, a 9. Now, I do recommend, if this has interested you at all, or if you already are a fan of Gurkha, that you take a look at the video that I put out under the tobacco history that deals with the history of Gurkha. There's some very interesting stuff there. I appreciate your participation and viewing of this video. Please like and subscribe, because that definitely helps me out. And I will see you on the next one. Have a great day.